Okay. Hello team. Welcome to Performance Testing Live Training, Day 3 session. So let's see today's agenda. We will go through Day 2, what we have covered like performance testing phase, requirement gathering phase. In that, we have seen the requirement gathering template. And today we will see a performance testing phase which will be continued. We will go through the next phase which is remaining. Then performance testing tool used like available in the market and which are the market leaders. We will see that. LoadRunner components, like which are the LoadRunner components, Vugen, controller, analysis. So we will go through each of the component and question and answer. So whatever questions you have, just note it down and we will discuss at the end. Okay. So performance testing phase, we have covered requirement gathering. So just a brief, I will again just let you know few points. So we need to gather requirement regarding the application like business process that needs to be used, that need to be tested. Then what is the expected response time? What is the expected throughput? Then what are expected concurrent user? What is expected concurrent number of users? Okay, so as we have gone through the template, requirement gathering template, we have asked all the useful questions to the client for our application. Okay, now the next phase is the test planning phase. So once requirement gathering is done, we do test planning. Like we put the requirements in a document. So that is a sign off between you and the client. So like whatever things are mentioned in the document, that things will be only performed during your performance testing activity. Okay, so let's see why planning, what planning does. So just a brief, like in planning, we need to identify type of performance test that we need to perform. Okay, identify, I will just mention, okay, point wise, need to identify type of performance test. Okay, to do for that particular application, like load, stress, endurance. So depending on the requirement, we need to decide, okay, which type of performance test we need to do. Okay, then we also need to identify load generator. What are load generator now? These are the servers from where you put the load on the application where users run. Okay, machine or server, you can say machine or server from where you put load on the application. Okay, so LG are necessary to run your to do the execution, because if users are from are globally situated, then you require LG, or you can say load generator or load injector. Okay, different terms are used in different organization. Or load injector. Okay, sorry, users are globally situated, then you require LG from that particular region. Okay, also need to identify the test environment that you are going to use for the performance testing. That will be used for performance testing. I'm just mentioning PT here for performance testing. So let's go through the template, okay, of performance testing test plan. Sorry. Okay. So this is the template. Then we will go through the sample test plan. Performance test plan submitted for this application to this client. Uh, Contents of the test plan, like document control, revision history, what is the purpose, what is the objective, then scope of work, like what business scenarios are in scope, what business scenarios out of scope, what we are not going to perform that will be out of scope. So we need to mention all the things in detail, okay? Monitors, environment, software and hardware requirements, prerequisites, execution scenarios, deliverables, risk. Team, one thing to remember, the template will be differing from organization to organization, and also some of the contents. Okay, so this is just I'm giving the overview. Okay, what things will be included, some extra things might be there in your test plan. Okay, so document control, revision history, like document control, we have seen in the requirement gathering template as well, like who is the author, who has reviewed the particular document, and the signature, then name, designation. Okay, revision history means, suppose you have prepared the document, some changes are made, you send the document to the client, or first of all you send the document to your team lead, say suppose he reviews it and lets you know the changes. So you say that, okay, this is the changes you have done, so the version will be getting changed if you whatever changes you perform, and you need to mention which are the affected sections you are changing. Okay, then next is purpose, objective, scope of work, in scope, out scope, monitors, environment, software and hardware requirements, prerequisites, execution scenario, like which scenario we are going to do, deliverables, risk. Okay, so this is a template. Now we will go through the test plan. See, this is the, you can say, performance test plan. Just a second. Yeah. Okay. I will just reduce the percentage. Okay. See then, say suppose performance test plan submitted for web tools, say suppose, to the client. You can mention your name as either web tools team, you can say. Okay, depending on what name. When you prepared it, the date. Okay, contents as we have gone through, we will directly go to like what is being, we write it. Okay. This, okay, just, okay. Okay, so what is the purpose of the document? This document details the summary of the performance test to be executed during the performance testing of, say, we will just mention our project name, Web2's portal, targeted transaction volume and metrics will be accomplished as defined by Web2's team. Okay. So what is the purpose of this particular document? Okay. Then objective. Determine how many users the portal can handle while maintaining a reasonable response time. Determine whether the system can serve like whatever number of users, you can say X concurrent user load, and what your objectives are for this particular performance test. Okay, you need to measure the response time. Transaction response time with 98th percentile should be captured in the execution. Now what is 98th percentile? How do we observe the response time? All this thing we will cover in the execution part. Then baseline the response time for each transaction in the portal. Baseline means suppose you run for say 10 users. For 10 users, what is the response time? So that is your baseline. And when you further increase the response time, you just compare the like response time of say for 50 users, whether it's good or bad depending on the 10 users. Okay, so you have some values for it, so that is called as baseline. Then the resource utilization. Check whether the hardware resource utilization, CPU, memory, disk does not exceed 75% utilization for greater than 5 minutes. Okay, and what we are doing, load and stress testing. And this is just an example. Okay, then benchmark testing, measure response time and health of the application for a single user. Benchmark, why we do benchmark? Like sometimes we might P, doing benchmark testing. What is that first of all? Now, this is the new application. You don't have any results, okay? So what you will do, you just run your application with a single user and observe the response time, whatever the values, metrics you need to observe, and that is called as the benchmark testing, okay? This testing we don't do for each and every project, depends on the requirement of your project, okay? In load testing, measure the ability of Web2's portal to handle a peak traffic load of X concurrent user by simulating a series of hits on website. Okay. Stress test, we need to know the capacity, the breaking point of the application, okay, over an extended period of time. Then next is scope of work, what we are going to do for this performance testing project. Okay, we will perform first of all requirement gathering, then test planning, then script creation, after that test design, means scenario design you can say instead of test design, test execution for the following mentioned functionalities to access the result of the performance testing. Now this is for other project, but when we take up the application, I will just open the application. Okay, first we need to start the Web2 server. Okay, 168 1.6. One dot six. Okay. So say suppose I will just delete this particular transaction, and what we are going to cover for the Web2's application, we will mention it. Okay. Okay. First of all, login module. Okay. What we will do, launch the application, then enter the credentials and click on sign in button. Okay, and then log out. So these are the steps we are going to perform. Now next is, say suppose, flight booking. Okay, module. So here what we will do, launch the application. So we will go step by step. I am showing you what we will do. We will enter the username and password. Now this home page will come. We need to click on flights. Okay. Launch the application, enter the credential and click on sign in button. Then click on flight. Okay, once we click on flight, we will understand team like what is business scenario like after we complete the test planning and we when we take up the scripting part. Okay, so don't worry about. I'm just like right now mentioning the list steps. Okay, when we click on flight, we need to enter the departure city, arrival city, enter, select. You can not enter, you need to select. Select departure, arrival city, then select departure and arrival date. Then next, what we need to select? We need to enter the number of passenger, seating preference. Okay, enter the number of passenger, then select the seating preference and also the type of seat. Okay, that we need to select and click on continue. Okay, then next what we are going to do, we have entered, say suppose, click on continue. Okay, select the flight, select the flight and click on continue. I think, yeah, and click on continue. Okay, then next click on continue. We need to give the payment details. Okay, enter the payment details. Okay, say suppose expiry date, I'm just mentioning. Okay, uh, click on continue and you get the invoice. Okay, click continue, enter the payment details and click continue. Booking is done. Invoice, we get the invoice. Okay, and just sign off. Click sign off. So this business scenarios we are going to test for Web2's application. Okay, so we need to mention the steps in detail in your test planning. Okay, so below functionality, if like something is changing every time, that functionality is not proper, then you can say we are not going to test this functionality. So for below functionality, right now there is no such functionality that we are not going to test because this is a stable application, it's working. Out of scope, we are not going to do functional testing, we are not going to performance test, as well as we are not going to performance monitor of the application. Okay, we are not going to do monitoring. Okay, then monitors, as we are not going to do monitoring, we will not mention the monitors, but just for your understanding, like if we do monitoring, what things like, definitely it will differ from project to project, like what we are going to monitor, but just an example. The various monitors we would be looking into during the performance test are as follows. Virtual user response time in transaction flow, average virtual user load, hits per second, throughput. We will monitor the following: the web server, database server, CPU utilization, memory monitoring. Now team, when you say you are monitoring web server, database server, all these things, you should be given admin rights on the server. Okay, here you can see we will set up the monitors provided we get admin rights on the server. Otherwise you won't be able to do anything. Okay, got it? Then next is environment. Which environment you are going to use. Performance testing will be performed on UAT environment, which is replica of production environment. As I said in last class, that we should be having environment similar to the production. Okay, so we will get the accurate results. We will need a dedicated machine in the same LAN in which application is deployed for installing and running whatever tool we are going to use, LR, JMeter 2. Okay. So that will be decided depending on whether the client is having the license and like who is going to bear the cost for LoadRunner, because JMeter is an open source tool, so you don't require costing for that. Just like the servers you would be requiring, that would be arranged by client. Okay, but for LoadRunner, license, as it is a commercial tool, licenses are required. Okay, next is the software and hardware requirement. Say also I'm mentioning just LoadRunner as we are going to cover. LoadRunner software, JMeter, Java. For JMeter you will be requiring Java. Okay, and LoadRunner. Hardware, like what hardware we require for doing the performance test for 500 virtual user. 4 CPU box with 4 gigahertz speed, RAM of 16 GB and C drive 100 GB for running 500 virtual users on a single machine. Okay. Monitoring software on the server required on web server, database server, SOLR server. This is not required right now. Say suppose we are just monitoring on web server and database server. Perfmon is a Windows monitoring server. Apache status page for monitoring JMeter, and access to MySQL status page for monitoring the SQL queries. Okay. Then prerequisites, like what should be there. Test data should be provided by the team, username and password. Single user should be able to have multiple login sessions in order to avoid creating 200 distinct users. So like a single user will be able to log in multiple times in a concurrent manner. Okay, so that it will behave as if 200 users, distinct users are accessing the application, so that you won't be able to like need to create distinct data. Okay, either you create or we need to ask the data from the application team. Okay, portal should have enough candidate. Okay, here you can say enough flight flight for testing search functionality. Okay, admin rights required on all server for monitoring purpose. So this should be there, only then we would be able to do excuse me, performance testing of the web tools application, say suppose. Next is execution scenario, okay? Transaction mix or workload model. So I will just, for example, just see like how the users will be distributed. Uh, as I said, it's not necessary that it should be equal distribution of the users. It can be depending on which business scenario is critical and how they are used. Okay. So say suppose we are now testing two functionality, login and flight booking. Okay. And we are running with say 30 users, we users. Then suppose login, we are testing with 20 users and 10 are booking flights. Okay, so this is called as transaction mix or workload model. Okay, scenario, following types of tests will be conducted during the execution. So as we are aware that in test planning we decide, we need to identify the type of performance test that we are going to do. Okay, so say suppose baseline test, this is just an example. User, how many users we are going to run? 5 users. Ramp up, 1 user every 5 seconds. Number of cycles, like how many times we do the execution? 1 time. And remarks, 5 tests will be executed, 1 test per 1 user role. Okay. So what is ramp up? We will see later when we take up the execution part. Load test, we are going to test with 200 users, say suppose 200 user every 1 minute. Number of cycles, like how many times we are going to perform the entire load test? 2 times. And what are the remarks? 200 users will be performing different activities. Then there will be think time of 1 minute followed by new batch of activities by this 200 users. What is think time? What is ramp up? We will discuss it later on when we take up the load runner terms, commonly used terms used. Okay, that I am going to cover later on. Okay. Then stress test, we are testing the application or stressing the application with 400 user load to see whether it is able to handle 400 or how much user load it is able to handle. Okay. Ramp up, number of cycle is 1. Only 1 time we are going to do the stress test, and this will be executed with increasing number of users till the system crash or abnormal behavior in response and the system usage is observed. Okay, so this, like, you need to identify team depending on your requirement, what type of performance test you need to do. As I said earlier also, uh, there is a question, but I would be answering at the end once the session is over. Okay. So next is deliverables, what we are going to deliver, test plan, test script, scenarios, and final result report. Okay. And what are the risks involved? Like there might be risk with the performance testing that we are going to do. So performance testing tools need to be compatible with application under test and can execute recorded script. This needs to be done before we give final confirmation to the client that we are going to whether the performance testing can be done for this particular application. So you can see here initial POC means proof of concept. Okay, I will just write the full form, proof of concept. This is not required every time, but if you are not aware of the protocol, even client is not aware of the protocol, and to confirm whether the tool will be able to support the application, then you need to do POC, that is proof of concept, will confirm if the tool can recognize UI objects of the application under test. Not objects, you can say will be able to, if the tool can work with, okay. Record the application under test. Reinstall the performance testing tools and try again. Seek help from tool support team if available, if like something goes wrong with the installation, okay. Then insufficient network bandwidth made available to execute the test. Bandwidth provided for the test conducted over LAN should be 2 Mbps, like maximum bandwidth should be there, okay. Changes in the test environment, production environment during the test may cause the testing scripts to fail or provide misleading results. We might be required to reconfigure the script and rerun. Team, always remember this should not happen. Always tell the client, give us the stable application. Unless we get the stable application, we will not be able to process with the performance testing activity. Okay. Next is monitoring capability is not available with JMeter during test execution. Monitoring will be done manually with the admin rights on the server. So that's it, team of we have gone through the test plan. Okay. Please note any questions you have, we will discuss once we finish the session. Okay. So next we go through the slide. We have covered requirement gathering. We have covered test planning. There are other performance testing phase also, but that we will be covering later on, like script creation. When we identify the business scenario, then we would be going for the script creation. Script creation is done by Vusion, that is virtual user generator. We will take the components right now, so you will be able to understand. Okay. Script execution, analysis and reporting. So the performance testing phase from starting from third, fourth, fifth, sixth, we would be covering as and when we take up that particular phase. Okay. Then what are the performance testing tools available in the market? LoadRunner, Apache JMeter, IBM Rational Performance Tester, NeoLoad, OpenSTA, and lot many more tools. Okay, team. But the market leader are LoadRunner, JMeter. Like most of the organization used these tools. Team, please, as I said, we will take the questions once the session is over. So please just keep the questions at your side. When we will end the session, we will take up your questions. Please, team. Next is LoadRunner Components. Okay, VUGen, controller, analysis. So we will see each, just we will have the description. I will just open the paint brush so that okay. So I will just mention it here. This is say load runner. LR I am mentioning load runner, and in that you have VUGen, that is virtual user generator. Okay, VUGen, controller, and analysis. Okay, so we will go through. Okay, first of all, we will take idea about what is load runner. Okay, just increase the font. Load runner. So, load runner is application performance testing solution. Okay, from Hewlett Packard, HP. Okay, from HP. Just mention the full form. Packard. Then LR is leading performance testing tool. In this tool set in the market. Okay. Load runner is basically a set of tools, as you have seen, set of tools. It has different components, okay, which perform different functionality. It is a proprietary tool. It means it is not an open source, okay. Means it is not open source. Okay. Okay, great. Open source. Then LR creates and manages virtual user, also called as V user. Okay, as we use the term sorry, V users, they are the virtual users. They are nothing but, you can say, virtual users are nothing but software representation of real users. Okay, human users. So just like as real user do their activity, we users are also independent of one another. Like in real, we are booking the flight. So in the similar way, we are emulating it through the load runner. Okay, got it? Then LR takes performance measurement like response time, throughput, concurrent users, etc. Okay. One good thing about LR is it works with numerous protocols. Okay. So like it kind of user friendly as well. Once we take up the scripting part, I will show you like a list of protocols that are supported by LoadRunner. Okay. That will be coming in the ViewGen component. So team, what is protocol? It's the communication between your client and the server. Okay, communication between client and the server. Got it? So this is about LR. So as we have seen, LR load runner has components, ViewGen, controller, analysis. Okay, so these components of LR say work independently and also work together with one another. Okay. So just taking up the components one by one. VuGen, that is also called as virtual user generator. VuGen, virtual user generator. So as the name suggests, we can only have one user using or doing the execution in VuGen. Okay. So with VuGen, we can record business process. Okay. Example here might be flight booking, or you can say even login. Okay, of web2. Then VuGen generates automated performance testing script. Okay, called as VUser script. Okay, so using VuGen you can optimize the script. That we will see once we take up the scripting part. Optimize, what you mean by optimize? I will just put an example like parameter, correlation, okay, etc. Okay, we can optimize the script. So these are the, you can say, functions of VuGen. Next is the controller. So here we can run with more users. Okay, for this license is required. Okay, we can design the scenario, run the scenario. Scenario means a mix of business processes. and the number of users that we run for that particular business process. You can say workload model. Okay. Then we can specify LG means load generator. Okay. Then setting of a performance load test is called a scenario in LoadRunner. Then you can monitor also, you can monitor your performance test as well through controller, okay, as it is running. Okay. So this is about controller. Last is the analysis component. So once we do the execution, we require the results offline. Okay. So in analysis, offline results available. Then mainly analysis collects and consolidate the test logs from all LGs. Okay, whichever is used. We can view the performance test results, and we can like optimize as well, or we can say we can use different options to generate meaningful test report. Okay, so we can like prepare the report, prepare HTML Word report. Okay. So, okay, VUGen, controller and analysis we have gone through. So team, any questions? Now please ask your questions so I can answer you. Yeah. First of all, okay, tools you will be teaching on. Both LoadRunner and JMeter we will be covering for two protocols. I will just mention it here. It's web, HTTP, HTML and the web service protocol. Okay, we will be covering both these protocols in both the tools. Scripting language you don't need to worry about, but yeah, the scripting language for LoadRunner is C and for JMeter it's Java. But you don't need to worry about the programming skills, not much is required. Okay, please let me know the details of enrolling for the training. You need to ask the team that is there for the registration purpose. You just let them know that you need to register. Okay. Okay. How do you reporting using LoadRunner? As I said, like once we do the execution, we have the results offline. We analyze the results in the analysis and then prepare the report. Okay. Okay. How much time do we need to master on? See, after this training and once you get hands-on on the project, you don't need to worry about. You will be master in performance testing. Okay. For the protocols which I will be covering. So you will be getting a total hands-on in the project. So don't worry about that. Master, like you will be needing some time, but yeah, As you work on the projects, you will be getting a confidence and definitely hands-on practical experience. Okay. Stress testing is a performance testing. Yeah, is a type of performance test. Okay. How about functional testing? No, see, functional testing is totally different from performance testing. Functional testing won't be covered. This is only performance testing. Okay, they are the two different types of testing. Okay. I'm working as a Selenium tester. Is there any similarity? Uh, okay. Just visit on the site for the registration, ITeLearn site. There you will be getting details on whom to contact. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, sorry. The question: I am working as a Selenium tester. Is there any similarity? See, in automation, we mainly focus on objects. Okay, but here like we focus on the performance of the application under the user load. Okay, so this is completely different. Here we don't focus on the objects, it's the communication between the client and the server that is being captured. Got it? Does it answer your question? Great, thank you. How many total number of hours of training and how many hours of lab practice? See, 30 plus hours training and after that, uh, 10 plus hour practice lab. Okay. Like for the project, what is happening? You would be leading the project and I would be just guiding whenever the things are stuck on. So you would be the master, like you would be the main lead for the project. Okay, everyone. Does it answer your question? Okay, thank you. Any more questions? So you can provide the project. Yeah, like once we do the project, you will be include that particular project. You can include in your resume as well because you will be doing it. Okay. Any more questions? I think no one has now questions. So we will stop and like from the next session, like it would be only for those who will be registering. So a team, whoever wants to attend the session, please register. Okay. How long it will take time for doing the project? 10 plus hours, I said. In that, like totally I will just give you the project you as a team would be working on, and then wherever you are stuck, I would be helping you out. Okay. Okay, great. Any more questions, team? I think no one has now questions. So we will stop here. So please, team, whoever wants to attend, just register yourself so that you will be able to attend the classes. Okay.